Bob from Speed Gems again, and we're going to show you today a new kit we've developed for the Mercedes family of diesels. It's the older one because there's what people are using right now. There's controllers available for the 606 out there, and they're in the junkyards for fairly reasonable, and they can make some pretty good power. So we've had a kit out for a while to put automatics on them, and we played around with a kit to put manuals on them once before, but it wasn't successful. So we've totally redesigned the kit after having a couple of trial fits and some testing, and we've come up with a pretty good kit. I'm going to show you how to install that right now on both the 606 and the OM603. And I don't know if you can see them in the background, but we've got both the motors here set up, ready to go. Both motors, although slightly different configurations, takes the same kit. We'll accept the same transmissions, mostly the same parts. And we've got a kit to put either the Chevrolet style manual transmissions on it, including the New Venture 4500, T56, 3500. There's a lot of different transmissions that'll fit it. Basically anything that'll bolt onto a Chevrolet small block or LS motor will bolt onto these 606s and 603 Mercedes engines. The Ford's even better. We can put anything that fit a small block Ford, or with slight configuration changes, we can make anything that fits a modular motor put on here. So that really opens it up as the transmissions you can use. The only problem with that is now the factories are stopping making manual transmissions. So all these transmissions I've been finding from eBay or junkyards, they're drying up. Everyone's picking them up. So that's getting to be difficult. But today I'm going to show you how to put a 4500 onto the 606, and I'll probably show an M5OD onto the 603. Just keep in mind that you can take these kits and swap them. We could have put the 4500 onto the 603, and we could have put the M5OD onto the 606. It doesn't matter. They fit either way. There's only one slight configuration difference on the flywheel, and we'll show you that. Okay, so we're going to start with the 606 going to the 4500. And of course, first thing you do is transmission is off the engine, torque converter is off the engine. Held on with 8 of these Torx bolts that we've already broke loose. They're torqued on pretty good. You're going to need some serious tools to get those off. If you don't have a Torx drive, probably should go out and get one, a good one, because Mercedes believes in tightening them up. We're not going to reuse those bolts. All right, once you've got those Torx bolts out of the crank here, those super tight Torx bolts, the 606 has a stiffener plate that is going to be reused. That's the difference between the two different flywheels. The 603 does not use this. The 606 does, and you need it for spacing for our flywheel. So make sure that there's a little pin here that locates everything. Make sure that pin just gets driven in. So now we're down to the base piece for the 606. Where the torque converter bolts through, 2, 2, and 2 here, we're actually going to put these bolts and nuts on it to stiffen it. This portion is only used now for starting the engine. After the engine starts, it goes along for the ride. That's all it is. It's not actually driving anything. We are retaining the original speed sensor on the same flywheel, so your balance is the same. The speed sensor signal is going to be the same. All we're doing here is just these are riveted together, but I've had an instance where the rivets came loose, so we're putting bolts in it as though the torque converter was still bolted to it. And this procedure does not need to be done on the 603. Even though the rest of the kit fits the same, this is the only difference in the two kits, is the way the flywheels are configured. Okay, now that we're this far, we're going to put the adapter plate on. Okay, the last two bolts, the flatheads, go through the adapter plate and retain the stock Mercedes starter. Okay, that done. Next comes the flywheel. It's, one of the changes was it's now a one-piece flywheel. It's not a multi-piece. So make sure this area is cleaned off right here, because that's where this flywheel is going to bolt on. This stock Mercedes location. There's a pin that retains the Mercedes flywheel. Make sure that's below flush. It's you just knock it in a little bit. It goes below flush. All right, so now the flywheel is going to go on, making sure that's on, the stiffener plate. Pins below flush. Well, now that the flywheel's on and torqued, time to put the clutch on. The flywheel is designed to use most GM style clutches. You can buy, if you want some really heavy duty clutch because you're putting 900,000 horsepower in it, you can just buy high performance General Motors clutches and put them on here. Either 10, 10.5, or 11-inch clutches will fit this flywheel. We're using the 10.5 today. And the clutch cover is going to be configured to work with the stock hydraulic throwout bearing on the New Venture Gear 4500 that we're putting on this. Pile of bushings already in. And all the hardware we're sending is either grade 8 or better. The metrics are 12.9. Now you're ready for the transmission. So now we're ready for the transmission. So I'm going to put the bell housing on. You guys that work around 4500s can recognize that. That's kind of a, they have just a little bit of an oddball bell housing on them, unlike the rest of the Chevy 4 and 5 speeds that just have normal bell housings. That could be different trannies slipped on. This one's kind of particular. Now comes the fun part, these light little 4500s. Oh, that's, by the way, this is the stock 4500 hydraulic throwout bearing. Well, there you have it. Off screen, we put this heavy thing onto the back of this 606. So, first time in your life you ever seen a New Venture 4500 on the back of a OM 606. And like I said, we could easily have put this over onto the 603 with just the slight flywheel variation. Other than that, using the stock Mercedes flywheel for starting, the stock ring gear, the stock starter, stock balance, and stock speed sensor. We could easily have put on just a regular 621 style bell housing, and you could put any of the old transmissions that they've made since back around 1955 onto this thing too. Or, you know, we could have gone newer. I've got a T56 over in the corner we could have put on here. It's just really a universal deal. Likewise, this whole video, we could easily have chosen to put this plate onto this motor, and then of course any Ford small block or modular bell housing would fit on. It's the same flywheel, same setup, you know, stock starter, stock flex plate. So there you have it. Mercedes 606 or 603 to a variety of transmissions, and we just showed you the 4500 because that's kind of a popular one. We get calls on that a lot. They're completely done, tested, and ready to sell. So give us a call if you want to use them. It's a popular motor. They're available for too much money, but anyway, we've been buying whole cars. If you really want to get one of these and have everything you need, buy the whole car wrecked, you know, something that's rusted out or needs a brake job. And that's what we've been doing. And you get the whole thing, the wiring harness, all the fuel, you know, the turbos on it. You know, you can run it, you know it's a good motor. That's what we do, buy the whole car. So, well, thanks for watching. Give us a call, 763-767-4480, or the website is transmissionadapters.com.